Hello, everyone. Todd Staruch, the Horror Nerd here, and I am at the second New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm having a fanboy moment because I am standing here next to iconic actress Diane Franklin. Diane, hello, how are you?
Hi, bonjour.
That, in case you somehow are living under a rock and don't remember, Diane starred in one of my favorite movies, Better Off Dead. And this is the actual coat that she wore in the movie.
This is this coat. Very remember. This is the actual coat worn in the film. You wear a piece of history. Right?
Exactly. Now I'm just nervous that I'm going to rip. If I hear a rip, I'm literally going to pass out and die right here in front of everybody. So Diane, it is very nice to see you again. And you're
to be on your show. I'm honored. I'm nervous now too because it was so fun to be on the show. This is great.
So you're back at another convention. I know you do several of these throughout the year. What is it that you like about doing these fan conventions?
Oh my gosh, I get to meet my Facebook friends, which I love. In fact, it's so funny because sometimes people will come up to me and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Joe!" And they'll be like, "What? How did you know my name?" And or I'll be like, "Finally!" Today I met a guy and I was like, "Finally, I get to meet you," because I recognized his name. So first, I really love that part of it. And I guess honestly, just the truth is, yawn.
We almost got photobombed, everybody.
By a wonderful actor who I actually murder in something. But anyway, that's another story. That's next year. The thing is, I just love the energy from people, and I like the fact that people remember the 80s and they remember me in films. I mean, it really isn't a given to me, and so I just am grateful and I'm appreciative and I feel humbled. And sometimes I talk to people for very long periods of time and they want to leave and I don't let them. No,
we're not going to have that problem. So.
And then sometimes it's just a great experience. I mean, I think another thing that I love is when people love the 80s and they go and they talk how much they love films. But then also they bring their kids and their family. And so I see that the films are brought to the next generation. And that's a gift. That never happened. I mean, certainly in the 80s, if there were conventions, people, it wasn't as popular and people maybe didn't bring their families. Maybe it was, I don't know, it was just different. So today I'm happy, and I'm also excited because I actually did some more work. I have 4 films coming out next year. I mean, and I can't even believe that I can say that. That wasn't even happening in the 80s. It would be like you do a film a year, or something like that. Maybe you do some TV in between. But I have work, so I'm very excited for my fans because you guys have been by me and you've, followed me and you've kind of seen my career go along, and so now you get the benefit of also seeing it come back again and resurge. And there's who knows whether they'll be successful or they'll be commercial, but I will say this: the work that I've done in these films next year will be worth seeing, and I will make it. I've always made it worth my fans to do great work and to do my best work. So I think you're going to be very happy and very surprised at whatever you see, and so that makes me happy because it's like a journey, It's like seeing somebody from high school years later that you loved, and then you get to see them, and you get that moment where you look in each other's eyes. I'm like, wait, that's a movie. So anyway, but that's the long answer to your question.
Oh, that's a great answer. And just speaking strictly as a fan, I have a great time in the fact that I get to meet all of my movie idols and just people that I liked growing up. I myself am a child of the 80s, so now I have a 12-year-old daughter and I am introducing her to all the movies that I loved, your movie, Better Off Dead, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Back to the Future, you name it. You're right, they will live forever because people like me are passing them down.
I have to say, this is what's really, really fun about these movies is almost photobombed again. What's really fun is that 80s films are upbeat, fun films and a fun time period. So even if you are you don't know anything about the 80s, you're going to feel the energy and you're going to feel the fun. And it was a fun time to grow up. And there were a lot of things that were happening that I don't know about you, but when we were in the 80s, I thought that life would sort of continue being the 80s, but it wasn't.
We grew up.
Yeah, and the thing I think was so interesting is when the 80s ended, there was almost like a backlash of culture. Like all of a sudden this upbeat period went to this very like laid back, cool, like 90s thing going on, and I think what it made me realize, and especially today, is that every generation has their favorite films, their generation of films that they grew up watching, and when you see actors at conventions like this, it brings back those memories, and you can't explain it. It's better than going to see a Broadway show, or like it just touches you. And I know this because I have been at conventions with other actors and I've seen their work, and I go up to them and I am like, oh my gosh, I loved you in that film. And I never was able to say that in the 80s because I was busy working. So we all have those experiences. We all have our crushes. We all have the people that we bonded with, and I just think these conventions give you a chance to go down, take a trip down memory lane. Yes, lane, that's right.
Absolutely, and it is so much fun. Now, speaking of Better Off Dead,
that's why I'm wearing the hat, by the way. This is don't worry, my character, so don't worry.
What is it like being a part of such an iconic film that so many people love? Are you surprised at all at its longevity?
I am beyond thrilled that people remember Better Off Dead. I am beyond, whenever I hear someone say that's my favorite movie, I wholeheartedly agree with them. It was, when I read the script, I remember thinking, why don't they make movies like this? And they did. It was really, really, for its time, it was a breakout film. Nobody made a film like this. Nobody made something so light, but at the same time so funny. There was always had to be something somewhat gratuitous nudity or gratuitous violence. But Better Off Dead just was a funny movie. So I think it opened up the door for a lot of entertainment, and I consider it, I hope that I am remembered for that film. It's a breakthrough film. I love all the other films I did, but and there's like deep meaning of all the other films I did to me, but I have to say that Better Off Dead was my favorite role. And it's closest to my personality, upbeat, kind of like, you can do it, And I also love the international language. This I love.
Oh my God, so much fun. Sounds like they're having a party across the hall. I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
Yeah, this is a wild convention, by the way. There's like crazy things going on. I just held a werewolf baby. By the way, somebody made a baby into a werewolf, and so
a werepup.
That every day. Yeah, right. A werepup, right?
Oh no! You don't understand, Diane. Those things are popular to the point that people buy them and then wheel them around in baby carriages and treat them like an actual baby. We horror fans are a little bit nutty sometimes.
My gosh! Well, I'm glad I just got into the whole thing. I just became a grandparent, I guess, of something of that. Wow.
So you mentioned your other roles. So just briefly, other than Better Off Dead, do you have a second favorite?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard.
Only hard question of the night, I promise.
Really hard, Okay, well, I loved playing Princess Joanna in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. What a dream role. What a wonderful part. I think it's like sort of my little girl fantasy, right? To be a princess, loving to play this excellent, and opposite Keanu. Hello, Keanu, I'm in love with you. I'm just letting you know.
So when he watches this,
right? Hello, hope you will watch this and remember. Just lovely. It was just a gift to work with him. He was just lovely. And Alex, they're the best guys. They're so nice. Honestly, they are great guys. And I guess they may be doing a Bill and Ted's 3, and I just hope that it happens, and it would be great for the princess to be in it, but whatever, it's still a great franchise and great film. And you can pass it on to your kids, I know like school teachers use it, and they've taught like history classes with students, so that's awesome. And then, I have a soft spot for Last American Virgin. Over the years,
I have the poster on my wall with your signature on it. Remember, a couple of years ago at a convention, there was the big reunion. There was like 6 or 7 of you. Yep, I love that poster. It's hanging on my wall.
those of you who don't know this film, it's amazing. It actually showed at Lincoln Center last year or the year before. But it's like a major film. It's an 80s time capsule with 80s music, great 80s clothes, and sort of had an 80s subject matter. There's cocaine, abortion. It brings guys in with the sexuality, and then it teaches you about love. I think this movie will never go away. When we first did it, we didn't even know it would show anywhere. I mean, seriously, when it came out, it was one of those films like, well, maybe someone will see it someday. Maybe it'll just go to direct to video if that was even a thing. And when it not only became popular, but then now today I'm still talking about it. Today, Brett Ratner decided he bought the rights to probably making it into, if he wants to make it into a remake or something. In fact, even today, Last American Virgin has influenced my life because I wrote a couple of books, but he wrote the foreword for my second book, which is on Amazon. It just came out this year, 2017, and he wrote the most beautiful thing for my foreword, and it was based on his love of Virgin. He wrote this great beginning. So if you get a chance and you love 80s things, this is I would say mostly on Last American Virgin. If you love it, there's tons of photos. It's like, and the book is about, it's called The Excellent Curls of the Last American.
And they are excellent curls, I must say.
But and you're like, why does she talk about curls? But I was the first actress to kickstart the 80s curl craze in the 80s. I was the one, sorry, all those who had to get perms, but I had to straighten my hair to Farrah Fawcett for a while, so you gotta go back and forth, right? But I was the first actress who made curly hair beautiful. It wasn't considered beautiful, it was considered like frizzy or silly, fun, silly kind of comedian-esque, but it wasn't considered beautiful. And so that's one of the things like I talk about. It's historic. And then my first book, which has been on, this is more about how I became an 80s actress. So if you're interested in true 80s nostalgia, if you're interested in something you've never seen before, I've only had great responses from these books. I've also had the cadence of being in the 80s, so when you read it, you'll feel like you're in the 80s. And these I have chapters on all the films I've done with photos and personal photos and just great memories. So I think it's a nice trip through time periods, Anyway, and you can get both of them on Amazon.
Very cool. So before I let you go,
right.
I have the last and most important question of the night.
All right, ready.
Did you have any French fries in the restaurant?
I did not have French fries. It was very sad. I was very upset. I wanted to, but they only gave me a stupid TV dinner. It was disgusting and cold and yucky. I did not like it. And so what I did was I actually went afterwards with Downton Lane, but afterwards I went to go In-N-Out, which is a place back in California, and I had In-N-Out. And then I had White Castle when I was out here. So
yes, White Castle here in New Jersey.
It's the White Castle, very good. And then, so no, it's not like that.
Well, that's too bad. Diane, thank you so much for taking the time and for filling a total fanboy moment. Folks, the lovely Diane Franklin, she is fantastic. Follow her on social media. She is very fan-friendly and very interactive. Follow her career along. Go ahead.
It's on Twitter, Diane Franklin 80. On Instagram, it's Diane to be with you, which is Diane to be with you. And on Facebook, go to Diane Franklin Fans, because my other one's filled up, but Diane Franklin Fans is my second one, and I will say okay, join, accept. I'll accept you, right? Get the words.
Fantastic. Thank you very much again.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next interview.
Okay.